So today, we're diving into a short but incredibly tense story that all happens in one single conversation. It's this powerful tale about friendship, about desperation, and ultimately about betrayal, all wrapped up in a chance meeting on a city street.
I mean, just imagine this for a second. You're walking to work, just going about your day, and you bump into somebody you haven't seen in 10 years. But this is not one of those happy reunions. See, this is the story of two guys, Bob and Avi, and their meeting is, well, anything but ordinary.
So, here's how it starts. Our story begins with Bob, just walking to his job. He's heading down the street when he spots a man asking people for change. But as he gets a little closer, he gets this jolt of recognition. No way! It's his old friend, Avi. And right from the get-go, the conversation is just jarring. Here's how it goes down in the original Spanish. Avi starts with, "Disculpe, señor. ¿Tienes algún cambio que puedas darme? No he comido nada hoy." Bob is just floored, and he asks, "Espera un minuto. ¿Eres Avi?" And Avi, just as shocked, replies, "¿Cómo me reconociste? Dios mío, eres Bob." So right there, in just a few lines, you see the whole conflict laid bare. These two haven't seen each other in a decade, and they meet under maybe the most awkward circumstances you could possibly imagine. One's going to work, the other's on the street, asking for money just so he can eat. The huge gap between their lives is, it's right there, and it's painful.
So Bob asks the question we're all thinking. ¿Qué estás haciendo aquí frente a la escuela? And Avi's answer, wow. It just lays out this absolute tragedy of a life. He says, "El amor de mi vida me ha dejado con mis hijos recientemente. Ahora no solo me siento muy soltero y deprimido, sino que también terminé siendo adicto a las drogas."
And that right there, that's the first major confession. This isn't just a string of bad luck he's describing. Avi is basically admitting that his entire world has collapsed. His family, his mental health, his physical health. The tone for this whole encounter is set, and it is incredibly dark. Okay, so from there, the conversation really gets into this comparison of their lives over the past 10 years. And let me tell you, the differences are staggering. Bob tries to find some common ground. He says, "Todavía estoy soltero, y apenas me gano la vida. Estoy trabajando como empleado de una pequeña tienda. Mi gerente siempre me odia." But Avi, he just shuts that down immediately. He fires back, "Pues eso todavía es mejor que mi situación actual. Soy desempleado, Bob."
Yeah, and this slide really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? While Bob isn't exactly thrilled with his life, he's single, he's got a dead-end job, student debt, his problems exist inside a normal structure. He has a job, he has a place to live. Avi, on the other hand, has lost everything. He's unemployed, homeless, struggling with addiction, and his partner left him. It's the difference between struggling and just total, complete desperation.
And then things get awkward and a little tense. Bob asks a really tough question. Si antes fuéramos buenos amigos, ¿por qué no nos hablaríamos nunca más? Avi kind of stumbles, giving this weak excuse. Es que porque antes teníamos clases diferentes. When Bob calls on it, Avi just delivers this brutally cold and kind of cruel response. Digamos simplemente que encontré amigos con quienes hablo mejor que tú.
Okay, you have to pay attention to this part. It's a huge moment. Avi's casual cruelty here, the fact that he's willing to hurt Bob, even while he's literally asking him for help, that tells you so much about his character. It's this little betrayal from the past that absolutely foreshadows what is about to happen.
And all of this leads us right to the climax of the whole story. Because Bob, even after that hurtful comment, still feels pity for his old friend. So now, the conversation turns into a kind of negotiation, a desperate plea for help. Porque me da mucha pena, actualmente tengo 20 pesos que puedo darte. Si te doy este, ¿qué harás con él? Y Avi makes a very, very specific promise. Si me lo das, lo usaré para comprar mucha comida en el Walmart. But Bob, he has to be sure. So he asks him point blank, "Y si te doy este, definitivamente no lo usarás para comprar drogas, ¿verdad?" Avi's answer couldn't be more firm. He says, "Claro que no. Si me lo das, definitivamente no lo usaré para comprar drogas."
So, 20 pesos. Look, it's not a fortune, right? But in this single moment, it means everything. For Bob, it's a gesture of compassion. For Avi, it's supposed to be a lifeline. But what it really is a test of trust, and it's all based on that one direct promise. All right, so this brings us to the final act. Bob has to make a choice, and he makes it based on Avi's promise. And what happens next? Well, it just changes the meaning of the entire story.
So Bob does it. He hands over the money, he wishes Avi well, probably feeling like he's done a good thing for an old friend who's hit rock bottom. The act of trust is made. The deal is done.
And as he runs away, Avi shouts back his final words. No puedo esperar a comprar drogas con este dinero.
And boom, there it is, the twist. In that one single triumphant shout, every single thing Avi said becomes a lie. His tragic story, his desperation, his promise, it was all an act. A manipulation from the very first word just to get what he really wanted. The betrayal is just absolute, and it's instant. And that just leaves us with this really unsettling question, doesn't it? Was Avi just a cold, calculating liar the whole time? Or was he so desperate, so completely consumed by his addiction that he was willing to say or do literally anything to get his next fix? The story really makes you wonder, where do you draw the line between pure deception and the terrible things people do when they are truly desperate?